Hi, my name is Arhan and I'm excited to welcome you to phase one of TFI. It starts off with this full page announcement in the Times of India, and it's this one announcement. It's a legendary campaign that pulled so many 2009 fellows to the movement, which set the tone for everything that followed. So this section right here talks about the origin of Teach for India, which was actually many years before Teach for India. It all started with these seeds of inspiration in the US. And so Wendy Kopp was an undergraduate student at Princeton. That itself is the stuff of legend. And the interesting connect with me, I was an undergraduate student in Canada at the time. I was in Montreal. And I was studying physics and math. I was very passionate about science. I was thinking of a career in research. And then there was this day, I remember it so clearly, where a friend of mine introduced me to the TFI website. And I think she had seen the ad as well in the Times of India, and she was a friend of mine in college. And then I clicked on, logged into the website, and I was blown away. I hadn't seen anything like this, where there were young people who were going back to the country and really investing in helping to build the future. And so in that moment, I felt really called. And my parents had no clue because they thought I was, heading for this career in science. And I went through the entire application process, without them knowing. And the final stage was the interview round, which was in New York. And so, traveled to New York. There was a close friend of mine from school who was applying to Teach for America. And so that's when I heard about Teach for America, heard the story, heard about Wendy Kopp, showed up in New York, and there was this incredible Teach for America building. I think it was in Manhattan. And walked into the office. It was, all these stories of core members at TFA. And so a very special moment to experience and connect with Teach for America, which was really the mother organization. My interview was with Sandeep Rai. So that's the first time I met him. His hair was, salt and pepper back then as well. And yeah, that was the interview. Did my 5-minute teaching lesson, and the rest of it, for me at least in my story, is history. So I have a really interesting story. As soon as I saw Anand Shah here, it took me back to that moment in the first year of my fellowship. And in the middle part of the year, we have a mid-year retreat, which takes place in Ahmedabad. And so that was the first time as a 22-year-old that I visited Ahmedabad. We were immersed at Gandhi Ashram. We spent time with grassroots organizations there. And one of the things that happens is we were at the Riverside School run by Kiran Sethi. And at the time, I thought, TFI, we were there doing this alone. But when we got there, we realized that there were these 2 other fellowship programs in the country at the time. And one was the Indica program started by Anand Shah, and the other was the Gandhi Fellows program under Piramal. And so I still remember that moment where we walked into the Riverside School. We were all seated in the courtyard. And then there were, Gandhi fellows who came in. There were Indica fellows who were there. There were the 9ers and 10ers from TFI. And we were just, there was an energy that I won't forget. I don't think I've ever experienced that again, where there was this deep sense of purpose. There was a deep sense that here we are, not here because each of us is here to chase something at a personal level, but we're in service of something much larger. And that larger was really contributing to the nation. The For India part was really why we were all here. Here we have, so around 2008, there was this tremendous global energy that had been sparked by President Obama's campaign. And so I remember being very excited when I saw this picture of Shaheen, Kiran and others with Barack Obama. I remember showing it to my parents as well, very excitedly, that, oh my God, Shaheen got to meet President Obama. And so, yeah, that's just a memory and a clear sign that there was this tremendous, I think, validation of the work that had been done over the years. Here is that legendary campaign. It really is the one campaign, I think, that's stayed with all of us. It's brought all of us in year 1 and 2 into the fellowship. And these lines, right? You could settle the cubicle that it talks about, the contrast between a life lived with purpose versus one where you're just kind of going through the motions. So that pulled a lot of us in. This is one of my favorite moments, and it's been a real inflection in my journey. So the context behind this here was that first group of 87 pioneers, and that cohort is always going to be special. And we were cohort 2, right? We came in after them. And so the setting here was the first ever graduation ceremony, which we now call induction. And so there was that first group of 87 fellows being inducted into the movement. And so, a lot of us from Pune had traveled, there were buses that were organized. We came into Bombay for the ceremony. And it was in this beautiful auditorium. And all of us tenors were seated in the top section, in the balcony section. And so the ceremony was going on, and then I think the speech that we all remember was basically Gaurav Singh. And so Gaurav was making the speech to kind of, he was representing his cohort, making the speech to induct everyone into the movement. And so these 87 words, so he ran through the names of each of those 87 fellows and shared the one word that really kind of connected with him, the one word that embodied that particular fellow. And so this right here are all the words: courage, idealism, dependability, sincerity, joyfulness, humility, reasoning. So there was this tremendous inspiration in the room when Gaurav went through all of these incredible words. And there was this moment, which again has been etched in memory, where we were seated in the balcony section and all the niners went up on stage. And so they were standing there. There was the spotlight on them. We were upstairs looking down, and suddenly all of them at the same time happened to look up at us. And they looked up and pointed, and we looked down, pointed back at them. And in some ways that was a transfer of the baton, and we all experienced it. The baton from cohort 1 to 2 had been passed on. This experiment that had started off really as people weren't sure, like that first cohort had no idea what they were stepping into. But we were now here, we were the first followers, and in any movement the first followers play a really critical role, and so the baton had been passed to the first set of followers, and yeah, that memory has been etched here in these words. Over here we have some of the incredible stories, the incredible classrooms that we witnessed in year 1, and so as a year 2 fellow in 2010, like really my reference point, my benchmark of excellence came from the year 1 fellows, the niners. And we had these learning circles which we were organized in, and I remember the niners in my learning circle were just such a great source of inspiration, and one of those sources of inspiration was actually Tarun Charikari, and he was a 2009 fellow. And at the end of his year, he was putting up this incredible play, this musical. He had been to New York, he had watched The Lion King on Broadway, and he was so inspired by that he kind of basically created his entire classroom's vision around the musical, and they spent a year preparing. They distributed roles, they created these incredible costumes and the sets, and it was just this incredible full class production of The Lion King. And I remember very clearly, my family was there, my parents, my grandmother, we all went. My aunt from the US was there, and we all went to watch Tarun Charikari and his classroom's production of The Lion King. So that moment has been captured here, and again, it's one of those, like I've attended The Lion King on Broadway, and then I can say that this one comes very close, and yeah, it's that entrance song again still resonates. So this was some of the stuff that we were seeing. So here we have a lovely quote from Anasuya Menon, and at Institute, Anna was one of those 2009 fellows who came in from Bombay, and she led a session for us, and she was just fresh out of college, so I could really connect with her as opposed to some of the others who were coming in from a kind of corporate career. And so Anna spoke about that first year in the classroom. She spoke about some of the challenges. I remember Sanaya was there as well. I think Sanaya, I just saw her name somewhere. So Sanaya and Anna spoke about what that first year was like, what were some of the challenges they went through, the deep satisfaction, the long hours, the chalk in your face. So all the nuances of what it means to really be a teacher on the front line. Those were some of the stories we heard from them. This right here was one of, again, those sources of inspiration. I spoke about Tarun a short while back. The Ahmedabad retreats again are a core part of the cultural fabric of TFI. Like generations of fellows have visited Ahmedabad, have been inspired at Gandhi Ashram, have spent time at the Riverside School, and it was one of those early Ahmedabad retreats where there was a circle of the 2009 fellows, and Tarun articulated this incredible vision of what does leadership look like to him and to us. And so leaders with the intellect of Nehru, the moral fiber of Gandhi, and the compassion of Mother Teresa. So this was one of those early visions that the leadership that the world needs is going to have to look different from what it's looked like in the past, and can we embody this in our own way. And we're back to the launch. So all of the the walk that just happened was the behind the scenes version. Here we have what the world was seeing, which was this inspiring full page ad in the Times of India, something that's absolutely unthinkable right now. And it just, for me, it really stands for the audacity of Shaheen's vision and the vision of those early people who were able to connect and able to really step up and be partners and allies in the launch of the organization. So I think just an incredible campaign, and so many young people were really inspired by reading this, and actually it played a really big role in credibility when it came to parents as well, because one of the real big challenges for fellows even today, but definitely in the early years, was that their families had no clue what they were stepping into. And so the fact that there was this external thing, validation from an org like the Times of India, played a really big role in making it easier, less friction for people to come in.